Okay, what are you saying, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well this Tuesday morning. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, make sure you do check out the Discord channel. Link to that in the description and also the top of the chat. You can check it out with well, there's other traders there, but so you can check out with other traders, but you can meet other traders, including myself. Share different ideas you're looking at, chat about different things, learn more about elevating trades, the prop firm as well. And of course, you can find your discount codes there if you're looking to purchase a Elevating Traders Challenge. But guys, welcome back to the stream. Hope everyone's well. Good morning, William. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good, my man. Yes, Himanshu, we'll get to it. Don't need to send it a second time. I can definitely read the first message. I'm going to go through USD markets and discuss the USD pairs, and then I'll come back to your Euro NZD, Euro Aussie long ideas. So yeah, I'll get to that. Let me just go through the USD pairs first. What's up, Antonio? Hope you're doing good. It has been a minute. How are you holding up? I'm doing good, my man. Thank you for asking. I'm well. Hope you are doing good as well. Again, any markets you're looking at, feel free to let us know. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing good this Tuesday morning. It's been an interesting 24 hours in the market, and we'll cover all of it. No need to worry about that. But first things first, we'll start with USD. And yeah, we had a bit of downside, upside, downside in the past 24 hours with, or maybe 36 hours, I should say, with USD. Price started off pretty bearish. We had some gaps in the market to the upside for a lot of the USD pairs. It looks like a lot of them has gone and filled the gap. And now we're seeing another reaction to that. Didn't really see a gap for the DXY until kind of the last daily candle closure. And price is looking pretty bearish. And what I can say with the USD is about where we're trading on the weekly chart. We're still holding this massive level as resistance. So again, we just about closed above it last week, but it's not a confident close, not a confident breakout. So I'm still waiting for more information on the higher timeframes before I do declare my bias, whether I'm looking for a big breakout here on USD back to 113, back to 114, or are we just rejecting the high, possibly looking for another swing to the downside? That could be the case as well. I need to wait to see what we can get on the higher timeframes, and then that will dictate my bias for probably the end of the year, really. Because if we do get a breakout, I'm only going to look to trade it back to the highs. If we do reject this, there's a good chance we come straight back down to the lows of the range. So either which way is a big move to be had. At the moment, I'm not confident with a bias. So I'm not gonna speak on one just yet. Kind of waiting for price to develop. I did touch on this head and shoulder pattern, which still looks like it could be shaping up with the left shoulder over here, the head over there, and then looking for kind of a right shoulder to form. And that could be a really interesting opportunity later in the week. Of course, this is going to be your neckline area. Looking for a break of structure there. Some shorts looks good as well. Of course, looking for the opposite on Euro USD, for example. But that still could be a nice opportunity to take USD to the downside this week if we are going to reject this level, which so far it looks like price is doing that. But I need a bit more information before I really do set my bias to bearish or bullish, as I just said with the higher time frames. But it looks like something like this could form. So waiting game really with USD. If something like this does form, I'll speak more about the shorts and probably look for some opportunities myself on some of the USD pairs. At the moment, just need a bit more information, some more development. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for on USD. Of course, with Euro USD, it's kind of the exact opposite. You got the left shoulder over here, possibly the head, and again, looking for that kind of right shoulder to form. And then, of course, you've got the neckline there. Could be another opportunity to take it to the upside as well. So there's upside there for Euro USD as well. And of course, we're trading at a very similar area on the weekly chart. If I just drag this level across, prior support, of course, acting as support again. Price just about got closed underneath last week, similar to USD. DXY getting that close above that level at 107. But again, not convinced. We left behind a pretty big wick to the downside as well. Not a lot of momentum on the break. Didn't clear it by a lot of distance. So therefore, the breakout I wouldn't be looking to follow. If this week's candle becomes very bearish this week and we close like this, of course, if we see another strong bearish candle close to the downside, that would be something I'll be interested in and looking for pullbacks and more downside and talking about lows of 0.97. But until we get something like that, I can't really be bearish on Euro USD, especially with the area of trading. And like I said, if that inverse head and shoulder pattern does form, it could actually be some really nice buys later on in the week. See a nice push to the upside, a correction, depending on what you're looking to do. Could be looking to try and tackle the buys on the right shoulder or wait for the neckline to snap and look for the next pullback afterwards. But either which way, you're expecting upside there for Euro USD, left head, right shoulder. And that, of course, will be a neckline. So a really nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, basically just a mirror image of what DXY is doing. So there could be a lot of upside here for the USD pairs if DXY does reject that level, which so far looks like it's the play that market is doing. But until I start to talk about opportunities, I need price to give me something like this, and then we can look for a pullback of that move at the very least. Preferably, you're looking for the next high low after that, because at that point we've got the break of structure, and then we can speak about some pullbacks afterwards with some more probabilities in our favor. So yeah, USD, I'm slowly drifting to more the bearish side of things, looking for some upside in Euro USD, but I need that up move there before I start anticipating any opportunity to jump in myself. But it looks like we are slowly getting ready for that. Pound USD, similar situation as well, not as clean as Euro USD. I'm looking for pullbacks for pound, but not really interested in the buys, as I spoke about on a few occasions. I'm more interested with the sells for pound USD. We have broke out of that long-term trend line, which we spoke about yesterday. And I do think there's a lot more downside for pound USD back into the low. However, I need to see some pullbacks before I do get short. I did speak on a retest of this area as a nice place to short. Not really a trade idea I'll be looking for because the market hasn't pulled back enough for myself. That fits the plan and fits what I'm looking for. But nonetheless, it's a nice area, especially on the lower time frames. If you're entering on like the 30 or the 50-minute chart, might find a nice trade there yesterday. It was a nice move to the downside. We did fill the gap. We were speaking about this yesterday. Not only is price bearish, and not only do you have nice bearish impulsive leg, the market's also got a gap there to the downside, which is likely to fill, and it did fill that on the retest of that level. So that job is done. That box is ticked. Maybe now we're going to see some retracement, possibly. If euro is going to push up, there's a good chance pound USD is going to push up. This is still the zone I like. It's just very, very far away from price, and maybe we won't get the retest of that level. Maybe we do. Again, part of trading is just looking for the opportunities and waiting for them to arise. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And when they do, you want to make sure you're there to take the trade. So if price does get there, the plan will be to look into short. But that's the only other area which I will look to short pound USD from. It's a healthy enough correction where I can be confident with my trade and look to really swing the move as well. Anything before that, it would be more of a quick in and out trade. So yeah, pound USD still up momentum. We've broken through structure. Multiple massive swing lows have been broken. This one here, and this one here as well. So I've been taking out lows like it's nothing. So that tells me there's more downside in the market. But first, I do want to see it up move for a retracement. And yeah, in terms of the buys, euro looks better, so I'd rather just focus on euro anyway. Aussie dollar, this one, we did see some nice downside. We did talk about that double top early in the week. Really nice retest of this low here. We had the retest from last week. Price came for the double top again this week with the gap. We did the same thing as pound. We filled the gap to the downside, but this one kept falling, at least to hit this low here. Starting to struggle now a little bit. So if you are in a trade from that high, I think this is a great place to secure some profits, manage the trade. I still do think there's more downside in the tank for Aussie dollar. I'm still looking for a push into 0.64. This is the area I'm looking for price to get to. 0.64, 0.638, because that's a massive, massive level on the daily chart, where I think at least price might be looking to get there before we see the next big bounce. So I'm still pretty bearish on Aussie dollar until we get there. Again, not really an opportunity I'm looking at. The risk reward is not particularly great, especially with me entering on the 4-hour chart. I'm not really finding the swings I'm after. But it's an opportunity nonetheless, and I do think there's still some more downside. But in terms of entries, if you haven't entered up there, now is not the time to enter because price is kind of stuck at support right now. So Definitely the boat has left the docks. The train's left the station. So yeah, unless we come back up to the high again, there's not really an opportunity there anymore, I would say, with Aussie dollar. With ends the USD, this one, did it see a bit more downside as well? Yes, it did. Did it go and hit the second daily area? Uh, did it? Yes, it just about did. So just about tapped into this level. So again, this is kind of like the next area. I do expect to see a bounce for New Zealand dollar. I was looking for the bounce on this area, but we didn't really see much of it. It was a slight one for a couple days before price did break through. So now this is the next big area because we're due a bigger retracement. If you look at how price is moving, we're due a correction at some point. I do expect it to happen from this low, especially if USD does find resistance at that 107,200 area. Then there's a good chance New Zealand dollar will probably push up as well. Dropping down to the 4-hour chart, you can see we're starting to see some corrections. Overall, the market is very, very corrective as well, which tells me there's not a lot of momentum left, meaning we probably will go for a bigger bounce at some point. Even if we are going to continue through this and continue lower, we probably will see some upside at some point. So I do think the buys look okay here. It's still a little bit aggressive. Maybe you can put some double bottoms in and see some more rejection. It will be, increase the probability of the buy playing out. But I do think if you're looking for buys, you're in a great place for it. And you're kind of waiting for confirmations and for structure there. But I do anticipate a bit of a bounce there for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD flew to the moon. CAD was pretty weak, and USD just USD wasn't even particularly strong. But yeah, CAD was very weak and a really big push to the upside there, creating new highs. So it's interesting now with dollar CAD. I want to see how this weekly candle closes because it looks to me like price might be having a breaking test of this major high here. If that's the case, that could mean a lot more upside for dollar CAD. Of course, CAD's going to play a big role in this, but if that's the case, if we are holding this level here on the weekly chart, that will mean a lot more upside and probably a really nice trend as well. And in terms of targets, actually, and let me stay on the weekly chart. In terms of targets, we could be looking at push back into this high here. There's some highs around there we could speak about later on, but for now, 1.43, 1.44 looks like a likely place where price could be pushing towards. So the next best area for long on dollar CAD will now be this area here, brief consolidation before we shot to the upside of all that momentum. No retest of that area. So if we were to get back there, that would be a nice place to look for some longs and a continuation. Market's still pretty consistent with the higher lows, kind of just looking for the next one. And now it looks like price is holding that weekly level. So we could be seeing a really nice trend form here with dollar CAD. I mean, we already have, but it might only just be the beginning now that we're firmly above 1.4. In terms of gold and silver, very surprising move for gold and silver, I must say. I was pretty bullish on both of them this week and looking for more upside, but gold had a really big sell-off, breaking through this area. This was the level I said could be nice for some longs on gold, looking for that kind of inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head and then right shoulder. I mean, technically, if you do get back above it, I think the buys are back on for gold. I'm still not quite convinced on the complete sell-off back to the lows here. It was an aggressive move, but it might just be a little sell before price does push on. The key thing for me last week was the break of structure. So that invalidates my sells altogether. So I do expect a higher low to form. I was looking for it to form here. Maybe it's happening a little bit deeper. It is coming back into this low, I think, here just about. So maybe it's just coming a little bit deeper before the buy. But I still do think gold's bigger move is to the upside. So it's just how aggressive that move was yesterday did throw me off a little bit. I was expecting a bit more of a corrective move down before big buy. But we've had a big sell. There's a lot of wicks accumulating there on the 4-hour chart. So that bearish momentum we had yesterday seems to be vanishing. And maybe we're going to use this low here on the left to see some upside rather than the area I was speaking about yesterday. But if we do get back above it, there could be some nice longs later in the week retesting that area. But yeah, I'm still looking for upside. Then silver, I was eventually trailed out of this one. Price did take me out the trade. My entry was here, and that's where I trailed my stop loss to. And I was trailed out there yesterday. I did close the trade for a smaller profit because I did bank some partials once we broke through the high here. So I did bank some partials. So it was a small win. I was looking for a bigger move, but with gold's falling out the sky, we're always going to see some bearish momentum for silver as well. So yeah, that did come and take me out the trade, but I'm happy with it. Still walked away for profit, so I can't complain. But yeah, with silver, again, if gold's going to do what I'm expecting to do, I do expect silver to follow suit. I mean, silver is still testing a major high as well. So I would still have a bullish bias in silver as long as we stay above this level, 30.07. In terms of the opportunities, not looking as good as it was when I first got in. So I'm not looking to buy silver anymore. It's a little bit more corrected now as well, but maybe if silver starts creating some higher highs and some higher lows again, things might look a little bit more interesting, maybe next week or the week after. So yeah, still expecting upside, but want a bit more development in the structure before I do find some more longs. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD, to be honest. Very, very interesting stuff, especially in gold and silver as well. What's up, Jay Fano? Hope you're doing good. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. William, do you expect some downside dollar? Okay, then you hop into dollar yen. Okay, yeah, I'm expecting for retracement as well for USD. It's been so bullish for the past few weeks. It looks like it's trying to break through 107, but I'm not quite convinced. So if it doesn't do that well, it probably will come down, and then that will probably mean some upside for Euro USD, Pound USD, maybe some downside for dollar yen as well. We'll take a look at Euro NZD and Euro Aussie Himanshu. What's up, Ben? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, gold move was kind of mad. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting it to be so aggressive, so volatile. I mean, I'm still looking at the same move upside for gold as I just spoke about, but yeah, that was a pretty aggressive move, I must say. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're well. So yeah, I mean, with DXY, it's kind of just the same situation as yesterday. I'm still kind of looking for that head and shoulder movement for possibly a sell. I'm not quite convinced that that close last week is price breaking above this level here. So we just about got the close, but it's a very weak candle, left a bit of a wick to the upside, not a confident close. So in my book, yes, it's technically a breakout, but it's just nothing that I would look to follow. And I want to see some evidence on the higher time frames of us coming back underneath. But from a 4 hours perspective, something like this would be nice. And then some shorts afterwards, I think could be a really nice trade, maybe later in the week. Could be looking at an opportunity like that. But I want to see some evidence of some bearish momentum coming into the market for us to be looking for pullbacks there. Ahmed, silver. Yeah, I'm out the silver trade. Yeah, that big sell did take me out of the trade, but like I said, still walked away for profit, so not the end of the world. Of course, you want it to go and hit the overall take profit, but hey, you know, all trades are not going to play out according to plan. Some you have to manage as you go along, and that was one of them. Okay, so we'll go through Euro NZD and Euro Aussie for you before you go crazy. So Euro NZD, Euro Aussie said you're in a long position at current prices. Okay, so can it go further to the upside if New Zealand cut rates tomorrow? Well, of course, if New Zealand's going to be weak, then you're going to expect more upside for Euro NZD, of course. I think rates are expected to cut, aren't they? Yeah, rates are expected to go down for New Zealand dollar, so that should play into your hands. Again, the markets are not always textbook like that. Sometimes New Zealand or Aussie or whatever currency might not always play by the book. It might be strong. It might be a little bit strong. It might not be as weak as you're expecting it to be. So there's many different things that play into it rather than just, okay, rates are supposed to cut. New Zealand's going to be weak. So let me buy UNZD. Again, on paper, yes, it is. But sometimes in the real event or things, sometimes it doesn't pan out that as always. But yeah, if NZD is going to be weak, UNZ is going to push up. Still not a big fan of the pair, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it's coming into some resistance at the, well, it's not quite there yet, but it's kind of been trading in this box a little bit. So we got equal lows there as well with that kind of big wick and fake out. We've got some resistance up there. So I would be looking for a push back to this area if I was you. That would be the area which I'll look to secure some gains or at least lock in stop loss to break even. because if the trade isn't going to play out for me, it's probably because price is going to reject that area and come right back down. So that is an area which I would focus on quite a lot in terms of managing the trade. But yeah, we've been moving sideways really, so it's just back and forth. Now we had a really nice rejection of the low. There's a good chance we're going to push back into the high. So that would be my target for the trade if I was buying Euro NZD. But yeah, because NZD weakness, we might see Euro NZD continue higher. In terms of Euro Aussie, and if NZD is weak, there's a good chance Euro Aussie is going to be weak as well. I mean, if New Zealand's going to be weak, there's a good chance that Aussie's going to be weak too. This one, really nice bounce off that low. It's looking pretty bullish. In terms of buys for this one, again, there is a nice level here, but I would probably be looking to take gains already from that low. Again, I'm not too sure where you're long from, if you're long currently here or down there. I think buying here is always just a little bit tricky because you've already had a pretty nice up move. Now you're coming back to areas of resistance, supply, where sellers will be sitting trying to push price down. Whether they're successful or not, that's a different question, but it's always just a bit difficult looking to enter prices here, enter buys here. Yeah, so a little bit tricky with that one. We could be making a similar move, back to the high here, great, but it's always just a bit tricky entering at these prices. But yeah, if your entity is going to be weak, then there is a good chance of more upside as well. Antonio, what's up? Okay, gold bounce off the 0.618. Okay, I'll go have a look at that. Good morning, Rob. What's up? Thoughts on dollar CHF? Okay, I will go take a look at USD CHF for you. No problem. Currently bearish, but yes, sort of. I'm not really looking to trade USD pairs, cease integrated. I'm not really looking to trade USD. If price gives me a strong drop like this, like I mentioned, like a strong drop like that, then I would be bearish on USD, because at that point, I'm looking at this as a bit of like a anticlimactic kind of fake out. We've had a really nice bullish trend. That was kind of one last push, maybe to trap some more buyers, stop out some early sellers. And then a strong move like that would say, okay, we probably are bearish, especially if we break through the low here as well, because that was our prior swing low that gave us the high. So if we did something like that, I would be bearish on USD. It's not there yet. I'm not really looking to trade any USD pairs at the moment. Yeah, I'm just not looking to trade any USD pairs at the moment. So I'm leaning towards bearish, a bearish bias, but I need to see something like that. And yes, I would be bearish. Okay, I'll go over and take a look at gold. So gold, you mentioned 0.618 retracement. You're probably correct there. Yeah, we come into 0.618 as well as hitting that prior low on the left. So yeah, maybe this is the area that gold does see some upside from, because the analysis coming to the week was we've had a big break of structure here. We originally had a really big drop, so I was pretty bearish last week, but then we just didn't see a seller confirmation, so I didn't enter a sell trade. Price broke the structure to the upside, so that completely invalidated my sell bias. And now coming into this week, I'm looking for that higher low, and this was the area I was interested in. Price, of course, has broken through that, but looks to be respecting that low pretty well. So maybe this is the low that's going to give us the push. And if we get back above that area, I think the buys will look good there as well. But the idea is I'm expecting upside for gold. So yeah, I think that's a nice place, 2,600 really. Seeing some really nice wicks there on the 4 hour as well. So potentially price is going to hold into this level and see some upside. And I also like the buys if we do climb back above that area there too. But yeah, it does look like we could see some upside, and especially with USD, looks like it might see some downside too. That could play into the hands of gold strength as well. In terms of USD CHF, not really one of my favorite pairs at the moment. I don't really have a setup or an idea with this one, to be honest, just because of the higher time frames is like a big range. In fact, if I go to the weekly chart, what we have is equal highs over here, equal lows down here, and price is kind of just dancing in between that. And right now we're not coming back into any area of significance. We're neither trading at the high or at the low. We've just kind of gone past the midpoint of the range a little bit. So in terms of my bias, it would be bearish because we're coming back into this kind of area of supply a little bit. And if USD does retrace, you're probably going to expect USD CHF to retrace as well. So I expect to move down, but it's nothing I'm looking to trade myself. It's not really at any quality area of significance or anything that fits my plan really. So I'm not looking to trade it. But maybe if we see a nice break of structure here this week, there might be some nice sell opportunities that follow suit on a lower high to take it down. That could be a nice trade there. So dollar CHF at the moment still an uptrend, but I'm not really looking to continue that because of where we're trading into. If it does break structure, I think that would be a nice sell, but I wouldn't look to stretch it too far just because of we're trading in the middle of a range. Still, maybe price still wants to push up higher. So yeah, I would be looking at maybe some retracement for dollar CHF, but that break of structure is essential before I would be even starting to contemplate looking to short the market. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of dollar CHF at the moment. Not really ticking any of my boxes. Yeah, so not a pair I'm looking to trade, but that would be my anticipation. Yes, I will go for the yen pairs at J Feno, 100%. I'll just go for a few more markets, then I'll go through all the yen pairs together. Antonio, US 30. Okay, we'll have a look. Okay, you entered. Okay, is that a long or short position that you just entered? Wow, look at that. US 30 still pushing up higher. Strong close again yesterday. I've been looking for a bigger pullback for this one, back to this area, but it looks like the market was just too bullish. I mean, it was performing really well in this channel for quite a while, and looking for price to do that again. But looks like this time it just it's too excited. It just wants to keep pushing. So we saw some new all-time highs again yesterday. I do think we're probably, especially with the high there, I do think we're coming up to a time where it's probably time to see a bit of retracement now with US 30. If you're in a long position, okay, you're long. If you're in a long position with US 30, it's difficult because we're just creating new all-time highs. The market's a bit stretched. There's still a gap here, which we could arguably go and fill as well. So it's not really a trade which I would like to take, but I understand you're buying because of all the momentum and you're looking for that momentum to sustain. But I wouldn't be looking to hold that trade for too long. If price was to get back into the high here or see new all-time highs, I'd be looking to at least close some positions or trail a stop. I will be looking to manage that trade because, yes, there's a lot of momentum in the market, but we'll probably do a retracement now with US 30. If you look back at price structure with this one, when we do create all-time highs, we do tend to have a retracement pretty soon after. It doesn't just move in one straight line for too long. So if you're looking to trade momentum, nothing wrong with that. We could easily see another big 4-hour candle break into the upside. Before we retrace, we could push a lot higher before we retrace as well. So it's difficult to say where that retracement will be from, but retracement is pretty likely now. So in terms of the buys, yes, I understand it, especially on the intraday timeframes. But if price gets back to the high here, I would be looking at locking some gains and protecting that trade because it's a little bit difficult buying at those prices. Your entry was 43,239. 43,239. Okay, you've entered a little further down. 43,239. Okay, I thought you entered all the way up there. 43,239. Okay, wow, really nice swing trade. So somewhere around there. Wow, looking really good. And so I thought you entered up there. So that's what I was like, okay, you're looking for momentum there, but always difficult because we're creating new highs. But if you've entered down here, you're looking very, very good. What's the plan of this one? Because I would assume if you're going to get into long, you'd be probably targeting the swing high there. Now that we've hit that, are you just looking to trail and just seeing how far you can take it? Or is there another target you would have in mind? But yeah, very impressive trade, I must say. Very impressive trade. Really nice momentum there. Like I said, since we've taken out the high, we'll probably do a correction now at some point. But as I said as well, we might still push up a little bit before that correction does happen. It's hard to say where it will happen, but now that the all-time high has been taken out, This is now retracement mode for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm still bullish. It might just be a short-term correction before a big move up high, but you don't know how far that correction will be. But really nice trade. But yeah, what's the plan for it? How are you looking to manage that position? Will, thoughts on pound CAD shorts? Okay, I'll take a look at pound CAD as well. Karish, good morning. Hope you're well. Eric, yes, I am still holding CAD Yen. I'll go through it in a second. But yeah, I'm still holding CAD Yen. Andreas, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Thoughts on Euro Yen? Okay, yeah, we'll go through some Euro. We're about to go through some Yen pairs together, so I will go through that most definitely. Bitcoin as well. I'll take a look at as well. But yeah, Bitcoin, bit of a drop there too, which I was actually talking about yesterday on the stream. I did say Bitcoin looked a bit tired, so it might have a bit of a correction. It's funny because Bitcoin just missed out on 100K before dropping, which is funny because I think everyone thought Bitcoin is going to go and hit 100K. I mean, still probably is going to hit 100K, but I thought it was just going to slowly make its way there. But anyway, with pound CAD, yeah, pound CAD, I am pretty bearish on still. We've had that really big break of structure, breaking out that trend line there as well. So I do think there's going to be a bigger move to the downside still, even though we had a really big drop. I'm looking for price to come back and test that high there, just above 1.73. So I do think there's still a bit more downside on the cards here for pound CAD. And now we're coming back into a nice area of confidence, really, testing this prior low here, which is now turned resistance, and a brief area where we did pause, saw a bit of consolidation, nice drop to the downside. Now price is coming back to retest it. The only thing, excuse me, don't know what happened there. The only thing I don't like about the position is how aggressive that retracement has been. So aggressive, that retracement. Of course, because of CAD weakness, but a really big push to the upside there. Preferably for me, I like my corrective, slower pullbacks. Those are normally my better trades. If it's going to be an impulse like that, it's always a bit tricky sometimes. But in terms of the location, in terms of the direction, this is a great place to be looking to short. If pound CAD is going to continue that path to the downside and go and hit the level I just mentioned, we probably are going to hold this resistance and make our way down. So yeah, I think this is a great place to look for some entries. I wouldn't say the market is ready to be shorted just yet, but we're definitely in an area where I would anticipate some downside from. Just not the biggest fan of how impulsive that move was. But then again, Cow was pretty weak. But yeah, I like the shorts here. I like the shorts here, and I still think there's lower prices to come for pound CAD. So yeah, I think it's a really nice place to short. So keep an eye on that. Okay, I'll quickly go through Bitcoin, and then I will go through I'll go through New Zealand Suit Chef for William there, and then I'll go through a bunch of yen pairs together. Bitcoin selling off at 99.8K was the most Bitcoin thing ever. I think it actually was the most Bitcoin thing ever. 99.8K and selling off. That's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So I could just teased everyone and then dropped. Okay, Antonio, looking to trail nice. Okay, form another ladder to, okay, so you're going to let that trade run, see what I can do. Currently still on break even. Okay, I mean, you've got a really nice position there. I would suggest maybe locking in some gains just in case. Because it's a really nice trade, and it'll be a shame if price does come back down to your entry, which is a possibility, but we are still in that very bullish climate for US 30. So, who knows how far the market could trend and keep going. The market could very much do something like this and just keep pushing for a while, and you could looking to trail there. I suppose that will be your plan, but there is that possibility we might have a deeper retracement or maybe break structure. So I would say locking in some gains, especially after new highs created. Pay yourself for that trade. It doesn't have to be a big chunk, just a small chunk. But yeah, if the game plan is to trail and just see how far you can take it, then I think that's a good game plan given the conditions of the market as well. So yeah, really nice trade there. In terms of BTC USD, so yeah, looking a little bit bearish, Bitcoin, after hitting um, 99.8K. That is a bummer. But I did say on my weekly analysis and yesterday as well, I still do think some retracement is likely because this leg here to the upside was just so tired. It had some nice momentum about it, but overall, you can just see compare this bullish leg here and compare it to this one and compare it to this one down there. There's a very big difference between how price was looking. So price looked a little bit tired. I don't think we're going to have a massive sell-off and Bitcoin's going to sell off a cliff, but I just think a pullback is likely. So now that we're coming back into this area, 92K, 91, 90K even, now I think this is a nice place where maybe more buyers will step in, and then we might see that move to go and hit 100K, because I do think 100K is very likely. But it's just funny how Bitcoin sold off at 99.8. Just very close to 100K. I think it's quite funny. But nonetheless, I do think the market's still very bullish and likely to keep pushing. But now that we have seen the down move, maybe now we're going to see the buy step back in another push. So I'll keep an eye out. If you're looking to trade Bitcoin, this could be a really nice location for some entries. And yeah, if you're looking to take it up, nice place to look to get involved. New Zealand CHF, I actually like the buys of this one, but I did miss the entry on that last 4-hour candle. So I'm looking to see if we can go and break the high, and then I'll be looking for the next entry because the next 4-hour candle did close a little bit bearish. So if you can break the high of the next one, I'll look for the entry, but it has ticked my boxes. It has come back to the low. It is looking very exhausted as well. And the key thing is that we're still forming a lot of wicks down the weekly chart. So if we are going to hold into this area here for New Zealand CHF, this is a great place to buy and a great place for a swing trade if that's what you're looking for, because possibly we could be seeing a push, back to these areas, maybe even further as well. And again, you don't have to look to trade it all the way up there, but there's definitely a possibility for that type of move. So I think this is a really nice place for a buy. I will be looking for entries for New Zealand CHF. If we can break the high there, which I think will be likely. But the key thing is we're holding to that zone, so stops will be below here. I'll give it a bit of room. But yeah, I do like the move to the upside here for New Zealand CHF. The only thing I don't like about this opportunity is that I have looked at the other CHF pairs, and they look a little bit bearish to me, which isn't always the best because of the correlation. But nonetheless, I always focus on the chart I'm trading. If it looks good, ticks my box as well, I won't shy away from the opportunity. Worst case scenario, you take a small loss in the position. As long as you're managing the risk, you live again to fight another day. But in terms of the quality of the position, I like it. Where we're trading, great. How we're trading looks good as well. It's been a very corrective move to the downside. It's not like we've sold off very aggressively. Price has been on a pretty slow grind lower. So I do think we'll push up pretty aggressively at some point. So yeah, keep an eye on this one. I do think the buys look really good, but we'll go through other CHF pairs at some point as well. So yeah, we'll go through some of the yen pairs. So I'm currently still holding on to CAD yen, which was really bearish. CAD was really weak overnight, and I'm not going to complain because it really helped my trade out. I have secured partials and have gone to break even as well. So my stop loss is now at my entry and have secured partials at that low. That's the area I did say I will look to manage the trade. Now I've left some positions to trail, and the goal is, it's a very optimistic goal, but the goal is to see if I can get it back down to this area here. And again, it's just an idea of what the market can do. The idea of a trading stop loss is that you don't know where you're going to exit, but you're just going to trail and follow momentum. Really, maybe it does get there, maybe it doesn't. We'll find out as we continue the trade. But for now, my stop loss is still at break even, mainly because the only bit of structure formed was this consolidation. So there's only one place to put my stop loss above, which is the consolidation, which is basically why it's at break even still. But really strong move to the downside. Of course, CAD was very weak. If you go look at any other CAD pair, We've seen some big moves there. CAD CHF, big move down. CAD yen, big move down. Dollar CAD, big move up. Pound CAD, we should look at, big move up as well. So it's been a very weak few hours for CAD. And yeah, I'm looking for some more downside for this one. I'm pretty bearish on CAD yen, again, stemming from the weekly chart, really. You can see where we're holding on to. So price is holding on to that resistance very, very well. A lot of rejection there, a lot of rejection there. I was anticipating more wicks as the weekly candles progressed, and we did see that, which is why I shorted at the high of last week's candle. Now we're seeing that momentum this week, which is great. Let's see if that can continue. And of course, this is the head of that head and shoulder pattern there. So the idea now is that if we do reject this level, price is probably going to have a big sell-off. So now I'm actually looking to see if I can find opportunities to add to that position. It's still a little bit too early to be looking for that because I am going to be looking for the retest of this low here. But I need price to have a much, much bigger break to the downside before I can start to even consider looking for the retest of that low. Because I want market to be quite stretched before I do find my pullbacks. I'm not looking for shallow breaking retest. So I need price to really have a pretty big dump before I do look for any additional entries to really try and take advantage of this trade as much as possible. But it will be something on my mind as we progress with the trade. But so far looking good, floating in a bit of profit there. So hopefully we can continue, have locked in gains. So whatever happens, I still walk away with at least a small win. So I'm happy with that. In terms of the other yen pairs, I haven't seen much momentum outside of that. Of course, CAD was particularly weak. It wasn't necessarily yen strength. So it's not like all the other yen pairs did dump as well. You can see there with euro yen, big dump from last week, but this week is kind of a bit of a mixture. Besides from that, I'm still pretty bearish on euro yen. I'm still looking for more downside. This is the level which I do like for the shorts, which I mentioned on my Discord yesterday. If you're not in Discord, go check it out. Link in the description. Completely free to join. Chat with myself, other traders as well, about different trading opportunities. But yeah, I did say I like this retest here. So you can see we've got the consecutive lower highs, one over there, second over there, third over there, fourth here. And now I'm looking for the fifth, possibly on the retest of that low. It would be nice if we did get over there, retest that area and see that next short. I think there is some trendline confluence there as well. So euro yen, I think, is a nice short opportunity. Not at current price though. It's a little bit congested here. We've had a really big drop. The market hasn't retraced much. So it would be nice if we were to go and take out maybe some of these weaker lower highs here. Push back to retest some key structure, form that lower high, then drop to the downside. I do think we've got the 0.618 in that area there as well. Well, it's between 0.618 and 0.786. So it's a healthy retracement. And from there, I'll expect more downside. But overall, for the yen pairs, I'm still pretty bearish. If I go to the weekly chart, it's literally the same pattern as CAD yen, which we just spoke about. Resistance over here, taking that across, acting as resistance pretty well again. And of course, that's your head for the head and shoulder pattern. So if euro yen's going to hold on to this, I do expect to see a big drop here, right back to the lows and maybe even further as well. Overall, pretty bearish on the yen pairs. We're getting bearish structure now. So I do think downside is pretty likely until that structure breaks. So if I was to go back onto the low charts, so until the structure breaks, so this high breaks here, then I would relook at things and maybe shift my bias. If that structure does break, about the moment, price is still respecting it. We're still forming lower highs. So yeah, I'm looking at some more downside there for euro yen. Almost sneezed there. It's always a bit awkward if you're about to sneeze whilst you're doing a live stream. But hey, who's going to complain? Anyway, in terms of pound yen, literally similar situation as well. Price is forming lower highs as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for the fifth retest of this low. Looks good. Pretty much the same opportunity as euro yen. Retesting that low, and again looking for another low high around 195 or 196. And again, a big push to the downside. This one is testing a bit of a low here. So, yeah, be careful of that because that might send us bullish. But at the moment in time, still respecting structure and similar to euro yen as well. As long as we stay below that high there at 197, 700, I'm staying bearish, expecting more downside for pound yen as well. So looking for a bit of retracement for some of these yen pairs because they had a big drop last week, especially euro yen and pound yen. Really big drops last week. So looking for a bit of retracement of that move, but still expecting more downside as the bigger move. So again, this is still what interests me. But again, I'm trading CAD yen, so I'm not really looking to get involved with pound yen. But if I was, that would be the opportunity I'll be looking at. New Zealand yen is an interesting one because we did see a bit of a sell-off. Yesterday as well, or during the night, as you can see, we're consolidating, a bit of a drop there, but it hasn't really got going because this has been a really big consolidation. So I'm looking for a pretty big breakout. And it was an okay breakout on the 4-hour chart, but the daily chart does scare me a little bit because this is our range. That's the high of the range essentially. This is the low of the range, and you can see so far we've left a big wick to the downside. And as we pull back here, which isn't particularly great, because if that daily candle does close how it looks right now, that to me is just a big fake out in the lower time frames. And then I would be expecting a move in the opposite direction there for New Zealand yen. So it's very, very important that we go and fill that wick. And if we don't, that's not a good signal, at least for the bears anyway. That's a great signal for the buyers because all price is done is faked lower. So probably going to push higher unless the following day goes and fills the wick. Then, of course, that's something different. But at the moment, price is pulling back a lot. And it looks like we're just about holding onto that support level. Maybe price is just retesting now in the low time frames for the short. But that's not an opportunity which I'm looking for. I did say I'm looking for the breaking retest of this low, but I want to see a big breakout, something which is clear, confident, and then I'll be looking for the retest of that for the sells. I don't look to take shallow breaking retests. It's just not in my plan at all. So I need price to really push on for me to start looking for some shorts here and take some trades to the downside. It looks like price might be having a fake out. We still got about 10 hours left. We still got about 10 hours left before that candle closes, 11 hours left before that candle closes. So a lot can happen in that time. But yeah, not looking good, I have to say, in terms of that breakout. I still think we will get the breakout, but yeah, daily not looking too good. Hopefully that changes by the end of the day. And moving on to Aussie yen, it's a similar situation as well, which is, again, we've come back to the lower end of the consolidation. Price tried to break through. It's pulling back now. So again, we just need to see that breakout because once we get that solid close below the range, it's game on. We can be looking for trades, pullbacks, and yeah, I'll be looking for a big sell-off right back to these lows here. So I'm still waiting for that. Have to stay patient. And at the moment, Aussie yen just holding on to support. But I do think we'll get the breakout. It's just about waiting for it, staying patient. And when it does happen, if it does happen, I shouldn't talk in absolutes. But if it does happen, then we can speak about the shorts afterwards. But at the moment, it's too early to say. In terms of CHF JPY and pound JPY, CHF, this one hasn't moved too much. There's a bit of upside since we last spoke. We did hit a really nice area of demand / support as well. Retesting that prior high on the left there too. So it did come into a nice area where I would expect to bounce anyway. And we've had one. I'm still pretty bearish on CHF JPY, but it would be nice if price can go and break structure to the downside because this was the last major low which gave us that high. So it would be nice if you can go and break through that, then find some opportunity to short afterwards. I think that'd be a really nice trade to look for, maybe in the retest of this low here. We'll make the call closer to time. But I am looking at downside here. I'm pretty bearish across the board for the yen pairs in general. So I'm looking for that move. Hasn't quite happened yet, but we'll see if it does. And then, of course, you got your lovely dollar yen, which seems to be breaking out of that trend line, I think. Yes, it's not the cleanest break in the world, but it looks like price is breaking. The key thing is that we're not bouncing to the upside anymore. And the key thing as well is that we formed a lower high as well. Last time we did have a nice bounce off the trend line. We also rejected some nice resistance, turned support there as well. So the fact is we didn't create a new high So the market is becoming a lot more tired, and now it looks like we're breaking through the trend line as well. So signs are pointing to USD JPY losing its strength to the upside and possibly getting ready for a bit of a drop, especially if the DXY is looking weak too. That will play into that factor quite a lot as well. But I did say coming into the week on my weekly analysis and yesterday as well that I'm not really a big fan of the longs here for dollar yen, but I would be a fan of the shorts if you do see a solid break to the downside below the trend line and below support as well. I think the shorts afterwards do look good. Kind of looking for that next lower high, 1, 2, 3, and of course another lower low. Just kind of looking for that bearish structure, which we've been forming on the other yen pairs. It's just dollar yen's been lagging behind a little bit because USD's been so strong. But yeah, this opportunity does look nice if it does pan out for USD JPY as well. But yeah, it looks like we are breaking that trend line. So the bounce to the upside is looking less and less likely. So yeah, I'm becoming more confident in that bearish bias. But again, even if it does form, I'd rather just put all my eggs in the CAD yen basket and just focus on the additional entries there. Because it's the same trade, dollar yen, euro yen. Of course, they'll have their strengths and weaknesses, but overall, we're basically trading yen strength here. So yeah, that's really my bias with the yen pairs. Looking for a big drop for them. CAD yen finally came through yesterday with that CAD weakness. It wasn't so much to do with yen, but hey, that's the funny thing is because CAD's been pretty strong all week. All week last week it was really strong. So even though it was a nice short and other yen pairs did see a lot of downside last week, the trade that I took just didn't really push on quite a lot. Did see a bit of downside. I've been floating in profit for most of last week, but it just wasn't going anywhere afterwards. But then, of course, CAD weakness came last night and hit my target there. So now it's just the plan. Can we trail? Can we get this back to the low? I think there's a good chance we can do. So I'm just gonna stay focused on that and see if I can get some additional entries as well. But then, of course, I did get taken out for my silver trades, but again, still walked away for profit there. So can't complain either. But yeah, at the moment, just the CAD yen short. Hopefully, I can get into my New Zealand CHF long as well. So yeah, I'll be looking to see if I can get into a long there, hopefully this afternoon. Which might be a bit tricky because New Zealand is going to have that interest rate cut as well, which might mean New Zealand weakness, but I think I'll still take the trade anyway. Again, it's very difficult to be a swing trader and just completely avoid news. I mean, I could wait till after the news, to be fair, because if it is going to be weak for New Zealand, it might give me a better entry. But the risk of that is that the trade might be gone by then as well. But yeah, I'm looking to get long on New Zealand CHF, so I will keep a close eye on that one. But yeah, I think that's kind of it, to be honest. Yeah, CAD yen and then New Zealand CHF, hopefully. You have a trend line from 0.58 lows on for buys about 0.505. Okay, you're looking for buys a lot further down. You're looking for buys down here. Oh, that's the wrong tool. So you're looking for buys 0.505. Where is that? Let me look at the higher time frames. Okay, that's a pretty big move down. Which is your trend line as well? 0.58 lows on the monthly chart. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. All right, take care. We'll have a good one, my man. We'll catch you tomorrow. As always, don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate it. Take care, my man. Yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And yeah, guys, hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams coming in the future. I suppose this is roughly the trend line you're looking at. Maybe slightly different because, of course, trend line is a little bit more subjective. Some people draw them differently, but more or less, you're probably looking at something like this. But yeah, we are coming back into that low, so naturally, looking for that bounce to the upside. It is counter trend. The trend of the market is very much to the downside for New Zealand CGF. So taking short, taking longs in this situation, especially longer term, is always going to be up against it a little bit. But in terms of where we're positioned, I think it makes a lot of sense. I do think the buys here make a lot of sense as well, because if the price does break through this low for me, that would definitely make me start to back away. So I'm not sure about the buys around 0.505. I'm sure you have your reasons for it. But the key reason for me is that price doesn't need to stay above 0.519. If we don't stay above that, I would back away from that bullish bias, because at that point, we might be looking to go and fill that wick to the downside and see some new lows. So that's really my area of confluence. If we can hold into that, I think the buys look good. If not, I'll step back and see how we develop. But yeah, I'll be looking to see if I can get some entries on this one this afternoon. Or I might wait till tomorrow, but I will probably find a trade New Zealand CHF this week. What's up, Daniel? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Yes, I will take a look at pound Aussie for you, no problem. Check the fake out CAD CHF. Okay, I'll have a look at that as well. I think I know what you mean. So yeah, pound Aussie. So yeah, pound Aussie was a nice bounce yesterday. It actually came back to a nice area of confluence, which I've been talking about, because I've said pound Aussie just not a really great pair to trade at the moment, because it's just very, very congested, no kind of clear-cut trend forming. So I did say, if you're looking to short or get involved, you want to be focusing at the extremes. So back at this major low here, that would be a nice place to buy from. Price came back into the high up there, nice place to sell from. But anywhere in here is just always just quite difficult. And we did see that bounce there at that low yesterday. And we've looked a little bit bullish since then. We've come back to retest that area there as well, just about. So now that move has not necessarily finished, but it's had a nice move to the upside. And if you're already in the trade, great. If not, then you're either looking for price to retest that area and look for some more entries, or maybe you're waiting for price to push up a lot higher before shorting, because I would avoid getting involved in these prices. I would only be looking to get involved up here or down here, really, because these are the turning points in the market. So in there is where it's always noisy, congested, probably going to get stopped out by a random wick or something. So yeah, I like pound Aussie to the upside, but I would wait for it to come back and retest that low. So if you're ready in the trade, they're great. If not, yeah, I would be looking for price to pull back, and again, looking for a similar move, another push to the upside like we had last time. But yeah, I would be bullish on pound Aussie, because we are still putting in these higher lows on the daily chart. So you got one low there, second low there, third there, and potentially a fourth there as well. I do think it will eventually come to an end, and price will reverse, but you can still see we're slowly pushing to the upside. So naturally, great place to look for a buy, where possibly, who knows, we might even push for another leg back to the highs there. But I think in terms of just keeping things reasonable, back to this area here or the high of the range there makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of what I'll be focusing on for pound Aussie. So if you're looking for some entries, you want to see if price can get back there again for a nice double bottom. We'll go take a look at CAD CHF. Lesega, okay, we'll have a quick look over Bitcoin as well. So yeah, CAD CHF, yeah, that was a pretty big move yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty big move, of course. Well, it was actually pretty bearish before we saw that CAD weakness really step in. But yeah, CAD CHF, really big push down, of course, last night as well, even when it broke structure as well. So crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm looking at upside for CAD CHF because of last week's close, but then I was not expecting to see that this week's candle would just engulf all that price action in just kind of one day, really. So yeah, that was a bit surprising there for CAD CHF, I must admit. I was looking for the break and retest of this area for a buy, but price is well and truly trading underneath that. So that has kind of messed up that trade opportunity altogether. And now we've actually broken through structure as well. We just got the close underneath that low. So that's not really a healthy sign for the buyers, I must say. And if anything, it might mean a bit more downside in the market, possibly a swing back to the lower end of the range, which would be this low here. So yeah, for CAD CHF, it was pretty bullish, looking for a bounce. But yeah, we were very, very bearish yesterday and early hours of this morning. So that bullish opportunity has completely gone out the window. Maybe this is just a deeper correction, but it doesn't fit the plan anymore, fit the setup I was looking at anymore. So I'm going to back away. And if anything, there could be some nice shorts here. Break of structure. There's your high, higher high. Now the break of structure, lower high. Could be seeing a nice drop to the low end of the range. So that's could what the next move be for CAD CHF. But I'm not interested in the market anymore, I must say. In terms of Bitcoin, as I mentioned, I still do think there is a lot more upside to be had for Bitcoin, but I think it's just price having a natural pullback. It's been looking quite tired as well for Bitcoin. So I did talk about some shorts on the weekend because, you can see the prime move there were very, very aggressive. Now it kind of just sluggishly moves to the upside. And again, with Bitcoin momentum, such a big, big thing, if Bitcoin's just seeing big candle after big candle, then Bitcoin's healthy. We're going to keep pushing. If it starts becoming a little bit dry, then that's a bit of a red flag there. Yeah, now you're looking for that momentum to kick back in again. If not, we could slowly bleed a lot further as well. So yeah, need to see some momentum step back into the market. I think this is a good, healthy place for that to happen. We just missed on 100K, but I still think price is likely to go and hit it. So not to worry too much. I think we're still likely to get there. We're just going to have a bit of a pullback, maybe scare off some people first, and then we're going to go and hit that 100K mark. But it's just a bit laughable how we came so close to it before seeing some downside. But yeah, still very bullish on Bitcoin though. If you're looking for an opportunity, this might be a nice place to find a trade. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've got FOMC minutes later today. Let me just go double check that. I think we've got some CAD news today as well, is it? Okay, no, not today. We've got FOMC minutes at 7 p.m. later today. And we got New Zealand interest rate at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is all UK time. Rates are expected to cut there, so keep an eye on that if you're trading at NZD. And then tomorrow afternoon, we got durable goods for USD, GDP growth for USD as well, all at 130. PCE at 130 as well. Jobless claims 130. So quite a few news events there tomorrow in the afternoon, US session. And then Thursday, bit of Germany news. But besides from that, not much. And then Friday, retail sales for Germany again. CPI for Euro. And then GDP for CAD. That's on Friday. Yeah. So Wednesday's a bit of a big day tomorrow before the news in the afternoon, especially for USD. But FOMC minutes today. But again, FOMC minutes could be a dud, really. Last few FOMC minutes haven't really caused too much movement. And it's at 7 p.m. at night as well. So I know a lot of the intraday traders probably would have be out of their trades by then anyway. What's up? Follow the trend. Hope you are doing good. Welcome to the stream. See continuation sells on Euro Aussie. Let me have a look. See. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be looking at sells anymore with Euro Aussie because of where we are trading and where we've come from. We've come from a massive low here, which we've just spiked through. So now is not the best time to be looking to short Euro Aussie. If anything, I wouldn't be looking to do too much actually at all. If I'm looking to short, I'd wait for price to push back to 1.63 again. Of course, whether we get there or not, that's a different question, but that would be a much healthier place to short from because the way you got to see the market is that this is where all the buyers are sitting. Whether price is going to break through that eventually or not, that's a different question. But this is where the buyers are looking to attack from. Sellers are looking to attack up here and up there as well. So the fact that we've just spiked for the low and now seen a big rejection, a lot of buyers have just entered the market, and a lot of sellers, which have been selling, have exited because they're taking their profits. So I'd want price to come back to an area where sellers have found a lot of success previously, because that's where they might be looking to re-enter, and the buyers who bought here are looking to exit their trade. So there's a good chance there could be a reaction at one of these areas up there. And given how the fact that the market's ranging quite a lot, there's a lot of buys sitting down there. So with Euro Aussie, yes, the sell continuation could definitely be the play, and the market could really look to continue. But I actually wouldn't be looking to sell here, especially with how aggressive that move has been to the upside. Oh, wrong tool. Really aggressive move to the upside, almost like a big V-shaped pattern. Big sell one, another big sell there. This is more of a reversal type opportunity, or at least an opportunity that normally describes more bullish momentum, which is not really what we want to be seeing as a seller. So, yeah, way too aggressive reaction off that low. Big level we've just come from, especially spiking through it. So grab liquidity underneath there as well. So I would wait for a bigger push to the upside for Euro Aussie before looking to short. And that would be the first area I would consider. This was the lower high that gave us that low. So I would want price to come back and respect that, and it'll be a nice place to short from, and better risk reward as well if it does play out, but not at current price though. So yeah, that's where I'll be at with Euro Aussie. But I think eventually we will see that bearish trend continue. I do think this floor will eventually break and price will continue down. Just want to see a bigger pullback first. Stay away from the buyers. Ben, S&P. Okay, breakout on the hourly. Let's have a look. See. I just went through US 30 earlier. Let's drop to the hourly. Okay. Oh, okay. So we had a really nice trend here with the S&P. We've got the highs over there, which we just kind of missed yesterday, I believe. Yeah, yesterday. So yeah, overall for S&P, everything is still looking pretty bullish to me. It's a little bit corrective, but the market has been pretty consistent, especially with that gap to the upside yesterday, which price has now gone and filled as well. So we kind of tick that box, and it looks like we just printed another higher low as well. So yeah, I would be looking at price create new highs. US 30 made new highs, so I think S&P will look to follow suit, maybe NAS as well. In terms of finding some opportunities to enter a trade, I would be looking at another push back to that low. If price could push down again, I think that would be a nice place for a buy. Solid place for a stop loss, nice place for entries as well, and solid target back at the all-time high, which will probably create some new ones too. So yeah, I think S&P looks really healthy in terms of the buys, pretty consistent with the higher lows. We filled the gap to the downside now. A lot of the gaps this week have been filled pretty well, to be honest. All the gaps that we had on the USD market just filled very swiftly, and the indices too. I haven't checked NAS, but US 30. Did US 30 do it? I don't think US 30 did. No, US 30 didn't. Did NAS? Okay, yeah, NAS did. NAS and S&P. So yeah, a lot of gaps have been filled. But yeah, looking very bullish, I would say, and we're probably going to get back to the high at some point, probably this week. So if we could push down, I think some entries look good, and probably keep pushing up higher this week as well. No problem. Follow the trend. Happy to help. Okay, yeah, that's true. Thanksgiving on Thursday as well. Forgot about that. Yeah, low volume week, especially for the indices. Yeah, it might be a bit of might see some momentum today. No, more Wednesday actually. Might see some momentum on Wednesday because there's a lot of news events. But yeah, Thanksgiving, and then I don't know if Friday is a bit of a holiday. Is Friday a holiday as well? The day after Thanksgiving. I'm not very clued up on my American holidays, but I feel like that might be. Um, if not, it might be just a quieter day in the market in general anyway. But yeah, Thanksgiving on Friday, on Thursday, might see the market dry up a little bit. Okay, tend to take the day off, but it's not a bank holiday. Okay, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, we might see a bit of a slower end to the week. To be fair, we have seen a lot of momentum. We have been spoiled with quite a momentum uh, as recent times with what we've seen, especially with the US elections, the NFP that week as well. Price has been moving quite a lot since then, so can't complain too much that we might be going to a bit of a dry period at the end of the week. Hopefully next week we can get the ball rolling again. But we have seen some nice moves the past couple of weeks, 3 weeks. What's up, Trey Barros? Hope you're doing good. Hope your numbers are blowing MT5. Well, Kajian is doing that job for me. But I hope everything's good with you. Welcome to the stream, my man. Hope you're well. Santa Claus rally. That is that is hilarious. Everyone just putting some money into the Santa Claus rally to pay for Christmas presents this year. But yeah, I mean indices. Yeah, there probably will be a bit quieter Thursday, Friday. But I have to say they all look pretty bullish. How's GR30 doing? Okay. So this one was pretty bullish yesterday. I was looking for reaction over here. I'm pretty sure I was seeing some nice rejection on the hourly chart. Was I? The chart looks different. Yeah, the chart looks a bit different. Or did I draw the trend line wrong? Can't remember. I was talking about GR30 yesterday, and I said there could be a bit of a dip in the market. Yeah, I think I just drew the trend line wrong. That threw me off there. But yeah, we were seeing some rejection yesterday because I remember a big wick, and I think that was the wick there. But now that we have approached that first high there, I would be a bit careful now with GR30 because overall the market is still pretty bullish, and we are respecting that low pretty well. Um, it is a nice place to short the market, but overall we are still very much in the bullish trend. So if you are going to short, you want to be managing those trades actively. UK 100, that one broke to the up. That one broke to the upside. Did they have the retest? No, well, not yet. Anyway, it hasn't really given much of a chance, but overall, still looks like it might still push on. How's the Japanese index doing? Okay, a bit of a move to the downside yesterday. Probably why we saw a bit of weakness, but overall hasn't really done much. Um, how's the JPY basket? Fair enough. Did they break the high? Oh, looks like it is breaking the high. Okay, so yeah, nice break in the high there. Solid close there. So hopefully, if we can sustain that now, stay above these prices here, we probably are going to push to the upside, and that's going to mean some more weakness for the yen pairs, more strength for the yen itself. And hopefully we do see CAD yen drop some more and the other yen pairs drop some more as well. Got to pump the stock to pay for Xmas, of course. Of course. That's how Xmas is paid for. Gerald, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome. Okay, EuroCAD. Okay, we'll go through EuroCAD and then we'll start taking a look at some of the crosses and some of the other currency pairs. I don't really have such a big watch list at the moment. Yeah, I don't, because USD is kind of just not quite ready for me yet. So I'm not really looking at any USD pairs, but hopefully that changes quickly. In terms of EuroCAD, though, this one was very bullish, of course, primarily because of CAD weakness, but a really strong move to the upside in the past 24 hours. Maybe we're going to see the retest of this area. I mean, we did see the retest last week, but we could see another one. And of course, price has such a big reaction coming into some of these lows here on the left, where I do think, again, there is still more downside likely for EuroCAD. But because we had such a big drop last week, I mean, if we measure it from the high to the low, because this is really the high where we came from. So we measure it from the high to the low, you've got the 50% we've only just tested, and you've got the 0.618 at below the range. So I think that's a really great confluence to be looking to sell EuroCAD from. If price can push a little bit higher back to that level, I think that'd be a great place to look to enter some shorts around 1.49. So entries in that area, stops above the level, and then possibly a big move to the downside. And hopefully as well, price can come at a little bit more corrective, because I don't like all that momentum. It's too aggressive. There's like a big V-shaped pattern, which again resembles more upside. Doesn't always mean a reversal, but it does mean we're probably likely to keep pushing up higher. So a retest of that low looks likely to happen again. Hopefully we can become a little bit more corrective there, so we lose that bullish momentum. And then, yeah, there could be some nice shorts to swing it right back down. Yeah, there could be some really nice shorts to swing it right back down there as well. So I like the shorts there for EuroCAD. I think it's a very similar opportunity to Pound CAD, which we just discussed as well. Prices pull back into that area. Ben, are you still short Pound CAD? Still holding on to that position? I still think there's some more downside for Pound CAD as well. I don't think this one had a big enough move to the 50. It's going to have to push a little bit higher to get there. But nonetheless, it's been a healthy correction back into a nice area of resistance where, again, I do think we can see some downside from. It's just that the pullback is what puts me off of the opportunity. If it was a bit more corrective pullback, I would like the opportunity a lot more, especially EuroCAD. EuroCAD was a massive move to the upside. But yeah, I do think we'll topple out and see some resistance at these areas. And of course, Aussie CAD was very bullish. We did have a massive move to the upside for this. Well, actually, I say massive. It wasn't as big as EuroCAD or Pound CAD. It was strong, but I think Aussie was a little bit strong as well. Aussie was a little bit strong as well, so that's why I didn't see such a big move. But it is reacting at the low end of the channel, so I am interested to see how Aussie CAD does develop here, because are we respecting the low in the channel to possibly continue this trend? Possibly. It's not really something I'm interested in because the market's so corrective. As I've said multiple occasions, I'm kind of waiting for this low to break here. I'm more interested in the sells than the buys. But yeah, it does look like price is holding on to that. And New Zealand CAD as well. We had a really big drop to the downside last week, but it looks like price is trying to climb back above. Is this giving us potentially a big fake out, or are we just coming back for a bigger retest? I think I'll wait to see how we close on the weekly candle, and that will provide the information. But overall, I'm still pretty bearish with the CAD pairs. Just that CAD was so weak, it's kind of skewed things up a little bit. But we've had a lot of momentum in the past 2-3 weeks, and I do think that momentum is still likely going to continue. Just probably have a pretty aggressive pullback at this stage right now. Been yelling Aussie CAD for a while now. Yeah, CAD's just been on a madness right now. CAD weakness just been really crazy, to be honest. I mean, it's playing into my hands a little bit, so I can't complain. But yeah, it's been quite crazy. Okay, break even took a little partial. Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of an erratic move, to be honest, especially because of the drop we had yesterday with Pound Cat, and not yesterday, last week with pound CAD. It's quite crazy to see all of that momentum be erased in one day there. Um, but yeah, that's kind of one of the benefits of you managing a position. You're taking partials as well, especially when you're going for the bigger trades too. It's quite healthy to take partials too, because if you're sitting in a trade, especially for multiple days or multiple weeks, just to get taken out at break even or even worse, loss can be a bit psychologically what's the right word here? Disheartening, because you hold the trade for that long just for it to come back at break even. If you're holding a day trade for like 3-4 hours and it goes break even, it's not that big of a deal. You're not so emotionally attached to that position. But if you're holding a trade for 3-4 days or 3-4 weeks, it can be a little bit more difficult to take sometimes. So sometimes actively managing can be a nice way to counteract that. But yeah, really big move up there for pound CAD. And that CAD weakness kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, V-shaped reversal. No, of course not. Of course not. It was just very aggressive. V-shaped reversals don't normally do it in one candle either, or pretty much one day to be honest, because we opened here and by early hours of Tuesday morning, prices already erased all of that momentum. So the funny thing is, last week we were talking about how bearish pound CAD was, how big of a drop that was. Little did we know that price was just going to be even more bullish early next week and erase all that momentum. And that's why trading can be so difficult. Everything's not textbook. It doesn't always just go to plan. And a lot of it is just educated, guesswork in terms of probability. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where the market's going to go, but you play to your edge, you play to your strengths, and you stick with that. And there will be some bumpy times along the way where you do go through drawdown, give back gains to the market. As with every strategy and every trader who's ever lived. But the key thing is to stay consistent, and that's really where the difficulty lies, because that's where the discipline comes in, and staying on top of everything really does come into play. But yeah, a really big move there for pound CAD. It's going to be interesting to see how you hold that level, especially for Euro CAD as well. Yeah, of course. I understand that, Ben. The main argument of trading the low time frames is that you can hold a trade for 2-3 hours, make the same profit as someone who holds a trade for 2-3 days or 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months as well. It's just about your position sizing. So the argument is that why would I trade in the higher time frames if I can just focus on the lower time frames and do the same move? Well, not same move, it'll be different pips, but the same monetary gain. And yeah, I mean, it plays into people's strengths, people's weaknesses. Some people can't stomach holding it for long. Some people can't stomach holding it short term either. It's just about what suits you and what's going on with your life at the moment as well. Because some people have full time employment, so they have to trade in the higher time frames, or find a time of the day where they can trade in the lower time frames as well. But yeah, I definitely understand that because it can be very, very annoying as well. But yeah, that is trading for you. Even the low time frames, you hold a nice trade and it can still hit break even as well. But yeah, that CAD weakness came out of nowhere. I know oil is pretty weak as well. Um, yeah, oil is pretty weak too, but nothing crazy. It was a pretty big drop there in the 4-hour chart, but we've seen bigger. Overall, I still think the shorts look good back at 72. At the moment, we're kind of trading in the middle of nowhere right now because this is the high of the range, that's the low. So I would wait for price to push back to the high before shorting there. But yeah, really nice drop there for oil. I think a lot of people are expecting fundamentally oil to see a lot lower prices. So maybe there is going to be a big sell. But in terms of technicals, I wouldn't think about shorting until we at least get back to that high. And then, yeah, we can discuss some short ideas, but overall, I do like oil to the downside from 72. Yep, I agree. Yep, I agree, Ben. I agree. Yeah, and I agree with that as well. I mean, there's a big difference between 5 minute price action and the monthly chart. Monthly chart is very stable, very systematic, very proportional as well. In the 5 minute chart, you can go from very sideways candles to the market moving erratic just because we came into session. Um, and of course, the way news affects the 5 minute, 50 minute chart is very different to how news affects the monthly. You see a massive spike on the 5 minute. Monthly chart, you don't see anything. And you don't get big news events as well. It's going to take catastrophic news events for the monthly chart to do anything crazy. I'm talking COVID, I'm talking Brexit, I'm talking Russia, Ukraine. Your day-to-day NFPs, CPIs, you don't see that at all. Doesn't make a dent on the monthly. But if you drop to the 5 minute chart and you look at price action there, um, you can just see when price is in session here, when it's out of session, you can just see that from a naked eye, and you don't get price action like that on the higher time frame. Of course, I'm just using the monthly as like an extreme example, but the markets are not exactly proportional. Low time frames is a lot more noise, and in my opinion, it's just a lot harder to find consistent gains there, especially like hourly time frame and below. I think price action hourly time frame above is just a lot easier to trade. I don't think it's a lot easier in terms of a huge difference, but I think just generally it's a lot cleaner to trade from. Um, but yeah, I do definitely agree there, to be honest. And still, you can still find profitability in the lower time frames. Not saying you can't, um, but I think it's just a lot easier to trade in the higher time frames. But the lower time frames are attractive for that same reason. The fact that your profits are quicker, you don't mess around, higher lot sizes, you can only hold a trade for a couple of hours, walk away with a big profit. Someone takes the same trade last couple of weeks or a couple of days. So I understand why. But at the end of the day, we're here to make a profit. We're not here to compare time frames or anything. We're here to make a profit in the market. And if you can do that on whatever time frame you're trading on, that's the most important thing, isn't it? And go hit the beach. Yeah, I understand that as well. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Price action is a lot more choppier. What's up, John? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Um, okay. The cattle weakness because Donald Trump statement 25% tariff on all goods coming from Canada. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would make a lot of sense, to be honest. That would make a lot of sense. Now, I mean, I saw oil dropping, so I thought CAD weakness came from that as well. Might have done a little bit, but yeah, that's a pretty big statement there. But yeah, I mean, I cannot complain because that has really helped out my CAD yen position. A lot of momentum to the downside there. So yeah, that CAD weakness has helped me hit my basically the take profit for my trade. But now I've got the rest of my positions running, and I'm looking to trail to the low there. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, CAD was just very very weak. Um, very, very weak. And I was looking at the other yen pairs, which have looked a little bit bearish, but overall, nothing compared to CAD yen. And I'm still expecting euro yen to keep pushing, pound yen to keep pushing. Um, I'm looking for New Zealand yen and Aussie yen to break out their ranges. I mean, New Zealand yen has, but it's just a little bit awkward right now because we're leaving a big wick there to the downside, which isn't great because that might be a big fake out, but we'll find out when the daily candle does close. What's up, Chris? Hope you're doing good, my man. Good to see you as well. Blessing, what's up? Your USD. Okay, we'll have a look see as well. And now I'll go through some of the let's see chef pairs and go through some of the crosses as well. So yeah, with Euro USD, I think it's a really nice place to be looking for some buys. I'm just waiting for a little bit more in terms of the market structure, which we'll take a look in a second. But of course, you can see where we're trading massive level of support on the weekly chart. We did get a candle close below this level last week, but not convincing. Nothing where I'll be excited with the breakout. So I'm waiting to see how this week's candle gets on. So far, I mean, it's only Tuesday, so I'm not going to speak about that too much because we could be looking a lot different by Friday. But it looks like price is still just about holding onto that level. That the breakout isn't really confirmed yet or confident yet. So what I'm waiting to see is if we can get a strong push to the upside, preferably a break of structure as well. This was the lower high that gave us that big push to the downside. So preferably it'd be great if we can get a strong move down, strong move back up, kind of like the V shape we saw on pound CAD and some of the other CAD pairs. If we can get a lovely V-shaped pattern, that would be absolutely beautiful. And then I'll be looking for the pullbacks for the continuation higher up. And this would form a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern here. And of course, that would be your neckline. So there could be some nice opportunities beyond that as well. But if we are going to hold this level as support on the weekly chart, there's a lot of upside we could see. Possibly a move back to retest this area here. This is the drop we had post US elections. So you might see price come back and revisit and test that area around 1.08. So yeah, could see a pretty big move to the upside for euro and a pretty big move down for dollar. Of course, DXY is pretty much doing the same thing, but the opposite. So again, if this one can have a big move to the downside, break structure as well, that would make me bearish on USD. And I'll be looking for opportunities. And if Euro USD can give us that move there to the upside as well, that would make me pretty bullish on USD, Euro USD as well. So the opportunity is not there yet with Euro because we haven't seen that V-shaped reversal yet. We haven't pushed up, we haven't broke through structure. So price could still potentially sell off. Hence why I'm still keeping an eye on the weekly chart. But if we do get that this week, then yeah, I will be pretty bullish on Euro USD, expecting a lot more upside. But if the weekly candle this week does push on and close really bearish, let's say we close something like that this week, then yeah, I would be pretty bearish on Euro USD at that point because we're confirmed breaking through that low. And at that point, I'll be looking for a push back to this low here, eventually at 0.96. So it's a very make or break area for Euro. Hold on to this level, expecting a big push to at least 1.08. Because if I kind of look at the range play here from the low to the high, this is around 50% of the range really. So that's where we're expecting price to come into, which is at least 50% of the range, 1.08. And if we do get the breakout, then we could really tank back to the lows here. So either which way is a big move to be had. At the moment, I'm favoring more the buys here. But first, let's see if we can get that break of structure. And then, yeah, the buys could be looking really good shortly afterwards. But that's kind of where I'm at with USD markets, really. I'm looking for some retracement. I think DXY is still very, very overbought. A lot of the markets are oversold. Are likely going to contract in FX. We very rarely tend to stay oversold or overbought for too long before we do have a correction. So even if we are going to break through this level for the DXY, we might have a correction first. Maybe the next wave we go really have our breakthrough. That could be the case, but there could be some nice shorts in the meantime and some nice longs in the meantime on euro as well. But yeah, looking at the other dollar pairs as well, like pound USD 2. Pound USD, I like the shorts for this one, but first I want to see a bigger pullback. I like the level here at 1.285. I was talking about this area here early in the week, but it was more to do with a short-term sell. Not really a trade idea, which I'll look for, but the idea was that we had that gap in the market. Price came back to retest a nice level of price structure, support term resistance. We had that range. Price broke through with a lot of momentum. Never had the retest before. We got the retest, filled the gap there. So that idea played out pretty well. Now we might get that bigger move to the upside if USD does become a bit weak, and hopefully you can get that retest up there at 1.285. And that area will be a nice area to hold a position as well, because if we can get moved to that level, for me that market has had a healthy retracement, and now I could potentially hold some shorts there on the way back to the low, or maybe even past the low too. And you can see on the left here, we've broken through numerous lows, 1, 2, 3. So the market's been breaking structure like it's nothing. So in my book, we're probably going to keep selling off, and I'm looking at a longer term push back into that low there. So yeah, pound USD for me, pretty bearish on. But first, I want to see a bigger pullback. USD CAD, that one's flown to the upside and looking very bullish there. Still consistent with the higher highs and higher lows. So I think the buys back at this area here, solid resistance. Now, of course, will be turned support. I think this will be a nice place to look for some long opportunities and look for that next higher low. Aussie dollar, we spoke about that one briefly before. We're looking for the retest of that double top, which we did see pretty well there. Nice move to the downside into that low. I still do think there's a bit more downside on the cards there for Aussie dollar. A retest of this area here still looks pretty good. However, it's stuck at the lows there a little bit, so it's a bit awkward. So if you haven't really got into the shorts before, I wouldn't really be looking to get into the shorts now, if that makes sense, because number one, we're at support, and number two, we're rejecting support as well. So even if we do push up to the high of the range, shorts still look okay, but the fact is we rejected the low, so it's not that particularly good, and now we're kind of just ranging some more. So yeah, Aussie dollar still looking for a push to 0.64. Would be nice if we can keep selling off, but we will wait and see. And then in terms of New Zealand dollar as well, this one is, well, it has come back to a really nice area of support, which is that low. We've taken out these lows here on the left. So I do think we're due a bit of a bounce there to the upside for New Zealand dollar. And 0.58 is a great place to expect it from. So a lot of these pairs I'm expecting upside. New Zealand expecting upside, Aussie expecting upside once we get to that support, pound expecting upside, euro expecting upside, and of course dollar expecting downside because these pairs are so stretched. They've had such a big move. And again, maybe they are going to continue lower. I spoke a lot about this yesterday. Maybe New Zealand dollar is still going to push to the low here, back to the COVID lows. Maybe that's still the bigger move. I do think we can go through a little bit of a bounce first and then maybe have that sell-off. And that could be some nice buys in the meantime before we speak about sales later on. But I am looking for that buy first. And of course, if USD does see some downside, that should really play into the hands of gold upside as well. How is gold looking? Okay, seeing a bit of momentum today. Of course, respecting that low pretty well. I like the wicks there because we had a lot of momentum yesterday, but it looks like all that bearish momentum has kind of disappeared. And now if you can hold on this, you probably are going to push to the upside from here. But yeah, overall, USD to me, I do think it's probably time for some weakness. And of course, I'll stand corrected if I see on the DXY a strong close above that level this week or next week or whichever week, really. If we do get a strong close like this above the high, then I'll stand corrected. I'll be a firmly bullish. I'll be a bull on USD again. And as I said, looking for a push back to the high, but only in this scenario would I be bullish. If I see a convincing close above the high, last week was not convincing at all. So I'm not quite bullish yet. And if you do get that strong move to the downside in the 4-hour chart, yeah, I will be looking at some sells. So that is where I'm at regarding USD. In terms of some of the crosses, we spoke about Euro Aussie, we spoke about Euro NZD as well. Again, I do have a short bias for both of them, but I think deeper correction is what we're looking for because these guys have had some nice moves to the downside, but they're coming off some really big lows right now. You can see in the case of Euro Aussie, really big moves to the downside, retesting some key support. I do think we're actually going to break through this and go a lot further, but I need price to move away from the bullish territory. This is where buyers are focused at, where they're looking to get involved. Sellers will be looking to get involved further up there. So that's where I want to position myself. Again, not a pair I'm looking at, but if I was, that would be an opportunity I would consider. Euro NZD, similar situation as well. This one, if I'm looking to sell, I need price to come a little bit higher. I mean, it's trading at some nice heights, and I'm still expecting a push to the low here. But because we've been ranging there, we're kind of in the middle of the range. I need price to push a little bit higher back to this area, 1.807. And maybe from there you can get the sell. Or if you want to be a little bit safer, you've got your neckline there, the head and shoulder pattern. Of course, your lovely left head and right shoulder. Wait for that neckline to break. And then there probably is some nice shorts on the way down. Probably connecting the highs there to retest. And that could be a nice opportunity maybe sometime next week. So Euro NZD, Euro Aussie, very bearish on both of them. Still expect both of them to fall. But first, I need that neckline to break. Or if you want to take the more aggressive opportunity, you can look for the retest of the high there as well. Pound Aussie, we briefly spoke about as well. I mentioned the higher lows that price has been putting in, which I do like. You've got the low there, second high low, third, fourth. Of course, not confirmed yet. We haven't created new highs, but it's still kind of in line with that bias. So I think in terms of the buys, entries look good in that area. So if you haven't entered the trade and you're looking to enter pound Aussie, I would wait for price to come back and retest that area again before looking for a buy. Otherwise, yeah, the boat is sailed unless we do come back for a retest and possibly a push back to the high end of the range around 1.965 looks good. But I think that's a nice little checkpoint. Book some partials there, and then possibly we can go further. In terms of pound NZD, his partner in crime. This one as well, I like the buys, but a lot further down. This one hasn't had a big enough retracement yet, where I would look for that next higher low. So again, connecting the dots of the higher lows here. You've got a lovely one over there, second, third, fourth. Looking for that fifth, retesting the high as support there as well. And hopefully there can be some buys probably next week at this point, maybe even the week after. We're taking our sweet time to get to those areas, but that's where I want to be looking for my entries. So in terms of the crosses, that's kind of where I'm at. And of course, you've got Euro Pound and Pound NZD as well. The buys looked okay. It's not really an opportunity I was looking at. I mean, it has played out pretty well. I was mentioning the buys and the retest of this area here this week. Really nice retest of that area. Nice bounce. Of course, we had the big wick from last week, which would have done a good job at liquidating a few positions. But since then, we've rejected the low pretty well. And the reason why I've been pretty bullish with Euro Pound is simply because of where we're trading in the higher time frames. Retesting a big level like this. And again, that's what I mean by looking at higher time frames. You're not necessarily looking to trade the higher time frames, but just by being aware of where we're trading at in the higher time frames to really help develop a bias, give you confidence to hold positions further, or confidence that, okay, I'm going to exit a trade a little bit early because I know the bigger move might still be against me. And you can see Euro Pound trading at such a big low. So eventually I do think a big bounce is on the cards with Euro Pound. Really nice rejection off that low. And I'm looking for a push back into that high. But possibly we might see a push all the way back into this high here as well for Euro Pound. So keep an eye on that. But that trade is sold. Unless we were to come back down again, you're probably not going to find an entry there on Euro Pound. And then in terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, looked pretty bearish. We were expecting that, to be honest, because of where we're coming into. Massive level resistance on the daily chart. Again, taking that across, as you can see, big level resistance, big rejection. There again, another big rejection, but it's not just because of that resistance I'm expecting price to reject. It's because of the conditions and how price is trading. That's what we're doing in a heavily trending market like the yen pairs were in 2023 and most of 2024 as well. I wouldn't be expecting highs to hold because that's the condition of the market is trending. The condition of this market is sideways, range bound, rejecting levels, rejecting support, rejecting resistance. So in these conditions, you're going to see a lot of rejections of support and resistance and a lot of mean reversion at highs and lows. So there's a good chance that we probably are going to hold this high given what price is doing. If we were in these conditions where price is melting, I wouldn't be looking for double bottoms and double tops there because we're probably going to break through and keep pushing. But in these conditions, you can expect price to respect resistance, especially when we're at some big highs, and that's what price has done. So in terms of more opportunities for Aussie New Zealand dollar, I'll wait for price to push back to the high for some sells because at this point, we're kind of pushing back into some structure here, which is that prior resistance we broke from last week. So now is definitely not the time to be looking to enter any shorts. If anything, if you were short, now's the time to maybe look to pay yourself a little bit or trail stops a little bit because we might bounce here. But yeah, overall, respecting a major high, I still think there's a bit more downside in the tank. So if we were to get back there, I think this is a nice place to look to short, stops above the high, and yeah, hopefully onto a nice winner there. And then in terms of the C-Chef pairs, as I said earlier, New Zealand C-Chef is the only C-Chef pair which I'm looking to trade at the moment now. I'm looking to see if I can get some entries. I probably will try and find an entry this afternoon. I mean, I could be conservative and wait for after the news tomorrow when I wake up, to be honest, because if New Zealand is going to be weak, then I might get a better entry. But then again, there's always a chance that price might move without me. For example, we might be very bullish today and push out. So even if you do see some weakness, it might not be enough to get a better entry. And maybe I do end up missing the trade. I'll decide that this afternoon. But overall, I'm looking to long this. Ticks the boxes very well, trading at a very, very pivotal price here. I do expect price to hold this level, and if it is going to hold it, I'm expecting a pretty big move to the upside there for New Zealand CHF, back to 0.534. If we don't hold this, then maybe we're going to have a big sell, and maybe we're going to fill that wick to the downside there as well. So it's a very important level, this, and so far it's doing a pretty good job at holding. Aussie CHF as partner in crime has been very, very messy. I don't know what price is doing, to be honest. It's not really testing any key levels, which I'll look to get involved with. So I'm not really eager to find any trades here. You know, this is the high of the range, this is the low. And right now, price is just messing around in the middle. So until we start to drift back to the highs or drift back to the lows, I'm not looking to do anything with Aussie Swiss, and I'll be staying put, just focusing on New Zealand CHF buys. I mean, it looks like we're having a hard time rejecting the lows here. Maybe we do push the upside, but it's not a significant enough area where I'll look to get involved myself. And in terms of CAD CHF, I was looking for a long for this one early in the week, but we went and just broke structure. Of course, for that CAD weakness, I was looking for the retest of the range here for some buys. Yeah, we just went and broke through structure. This was our high, high, low, higher, high. Looking for the next high, low, for the next wave to the upside, but we broke structure. So now shorts look like the more probable opportunity now, especially for retest of 0.632. So CAD CHF did look like a nice buy coming into the week, but that's been settled. Yeah, I will look to let's go over dollar CHF for you. Actually, I'm on the CHF pairs actually at the moment, so let me go through a couple more, and I'll take a look at your dollar CHF opportunity. So yeah, CAD CHF looks like downside is on the cards for this one. More to do with CAD weakness rather than CHF strength, but that's what I'm getting from that price action. Pound CHF, I actually do like pound CHF, but it must break out that consolidation, which it still hasn't done yet. We've been trading in this range for a very long time now. And again, I'm still looking at the higher time frames for potentially a big continuation. Really big drop there to the downside. Looking at a pullback and then possibly another continuation back to the low. That is still the plan there with pound CHF. But of course, if I'm looking to trade that, I need the break of the consolidation before I can look for any shorts. And then you can be looking at some shorts to the low there. And that could be a really nice swing trade if it does fit the plan and do what I want it to do. But at the moment, we're still just about holding onto these lows. And if you're looking for range play, this is not a bad place for a buy at all. Actually, I think it's a nice buy opportunity. Not really a trade setup which I focus on. But if we can see the break of structure, that would be something I would be focusing on. And there's a long way down if we are going to hit those targets. So pound CHF, one to keep an eye on. If I can see a solid break this week, I'll add it to my watch list for next week probably. If it does just bounce at the low of the range again, then yes, just not a market I'll be looking at, to be honest. And then, yeah, if we take a look at Euro CHF, and then we'll go over to dollar CHF. Euro CHF, this one, again, we created new all-time lows not long ago. We did it over here, then we just about spiked and did it again Friday. But we're trading at some key lows here. So overall, this is just a very bullish place for Euro CHF. Now, I know the market is overall really bearish. We've been falling to the downside for quite a while. And we're probably going to see a big retracement at some point. Every time we do take out the major lows on Euro CHF, we do bounce. But it's difficult to anticipate that in one go. So I do think it's a nice place for a buy. It's always a little bit aggressive, but if you can get some entries here, maybe some stops underneath the level, you're in a nice place. But understand that you are trading counter trend, similar to my position for New Zealand CHF. It's counter trend, but I'm at a place where I can get a solid stop loss, and if price is going to turn, it's likely going to be from that area. So that's why I do like the buys there for New Zealand CHF. In terms of dollar CHF, now dollar CHF, I'm not the biggest fan on, especially if USD is going to be weak. So yeah, of course, at the moment, the market has had a lot of bullish structure. We've been seeing higher highs and higher lows. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. So we've had a lot of higher highs and higher lows. So I understand why you're looking to long the market, because that's all the market has been doing. But now we're becoming a little bit tired. We have approached some supply on the weekly chart. So you can see here, brief pause in the market before a really big drop to the downside. We've now tapped into that area as well. If I drop to the 4-hour chart as well, you can see we're becoming a bit more corrective. So yes, the buys look okay, but I would argue that the market's pretty tired. So I think some nice opportunities would be if we can get a solid break of structure and find some shorts shortly afterwards. Then I think that'll be a really nice trade to look at, because at that point, shorting from that supply area, break of structure, you're stacking some confluences in your favor now, and the low high could be a nice trade to look at. In terms of the buys, I can see we are trading at some nice areas here, where we did have a brief area of resistance and nice area of demand there too. So if I drop to the hourly chart, overall, this is a nice place for a push. And I would argue as well, we do have that gap there where price could look to go and fill as well. But for the reasons I mentioned, the market being tired, where we're trading, I wouldn't be looking to take the buy personally. But if that gap is going to be filled, then we might still see a push to the upside. Where's your stop loss for the trade? I assume it's probably underneath the low here somewhere. If that's the case, I think that's a healthy stop loss. I bet the risk reward probably looks good to fill that gap there. But yeah, because of where we're trading and the confluences, I do think we might have a bigger retracement. But we haven't broken structure yet, so I won't be looking for the sell. It's just something I'll be looking to wait for. But yeah, keep an eye on the DXY, because I believe that would be a big part to play, whether the trade does play out or not. But as long as you're managing risk, any trade could fail. It doesn't matter how good quality the setup is, it could potentially fail as well, as long as you're following your plan. That's the most important reason. But like I said, because of where we're trading, how we're trading, I'll be waiting for that break of structure, and hopefully we can get that push down by 0.88403. 88403. Okay, so you bought somewhere over there, I assume, and you don't take profit. Okay, so you just trail then, I guess. You just trail your stops as price continues in your favor. I mean, that's a great way to look at it as well, because the market is definitely bullish. So if the trends are going to continue, you don't necessarily know where it's going to topple out. So trading it could give you that possibility to catch a big winner. I'm a fan of trading stops as well. But yeah, because price is a bit tired, I would look at that gap and think if we can get there, that'd be a great idea to book some profits along the way, or at least trail your stop loss, which I'm sure you would look to do. But yeah, I like the trade. You're following momentum, but because of where we're trading, I wouldn't look at it personally, and I'll be waiting to see price can actually reverse there. And if we do, I think the sales could look really, really good. as well. So that's kind of what I'll be keeping an eye of. But yeah, let's see how that does pan out there for dollar CHF. But like I said, DXY going to be such a huge factor this week. We do have FOMC minutes later today. So that will be interesting. But FOMC minutes is never the big event. It might cause a bit of movement, but I think the USD news tomorrow will be a bigger factor anyway. So that's probably what you want to focus on. Uh, Again, that's always a difficult question to answer. Yes and no. I leave positions on during the news, but the reason I do that is because I got wider stops because I'm trading the 4-hour chart. I normally have bigger targets as well. So if I close my trades for the news, I'll never really have any trade going because as a swing trader, you're going to hold trades overnight. So it's always been difficult to do that. As a day trader, you can be in and out a little bit quicker, and you have smaller stops as well. So you'd be more affected by slippage and more affected by spreads widening. So that's why you probably want to close your trades before major news events. The news event, if you're looking at the news event for today, like I said, the news event for today is at 7 p.m. UK time, which is about bear with me, is in about 7 hours time from now. So yeah, if your trade hasn't got going in the next 7 hours or done what you wanted to do, then yeah, you could probably close the trade, to be honest. And we do have home sales at 3 o'clock, but I wouldn't panic too much at that news. It could move the market, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of the big events where I'd worry too much. It looks like you probably have slightly wider stops and stuff. So yeah, the answer to the question is, if you can't stomach the risk, then yes. If you can, then you don't have to. Just be prepared for the downside. As long as you're prepared for the risk, you can pretty much do anything really. But always, always, always be prepared for the risk. Um, but yeah, guys, that has taken us to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have found it useful, enjoyed it, informative, educational, please be sure to show some love and drop a like on the stream. It does really help out, and I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. And whilst you're at it, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I will be live again every day this week, as always. So look out for me on this channel, of course. Same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. I will be live with Nick as well, I think today and tomorrow, but not too sure. Anyway, you'll see me if you see me. But yeah, guys, I'll be live again later. And if I do take any trades, I'll let you guys know as well. But nonetheless, guys, have a great Tuesday, and I'll catch you all in the next one.